Good morning. I hope you're doing well today. It is time for another episode of Midweek Motivation Live. I am your host, Patrick Lee. Midweek Motivation Live. Sometimes I just choke myself up. Midweek Motivation Live now on all major podcast platforms. Wherever you go to consume your podcast content, you can find Midweek Motivation Live with Patrick Lee. I hope you are all doing well today. We're giving people just a couple of seconds to start tuning in. It is time for the show. Everyone knows we go live every Wednesday morning here at 10 o'clock for Midweek Motivation Live. We give people just a couple of seconds to tune in and get online, and then we jump into it. Today's show is going to be one that applies to you and me. Every week I tell people that tune into the show, this show is for you and me. And today's show is certainly no different. Today, we're going to be talking about the topic of boredom. Boredom is a liar. Snap out of it before you get eaten alive. And it's going to talk about one of the statements we're going to talk about in the show. If you're not in the hunt, you are actually on the menu today on Midweek Motivation Live. And it's going to be a little bit of a firecracker. I'm kicking myself in the butt. I'm kicking y'all in the butt. And we need that today to keep moving more forward. Good morning, Miss Gina, my dear friend. Great to see you on here as well. If you see one of my eyes watering, I apologize. It will be okay, but I have one of my eyes is burning. I had a product on my cheek for a little bit of pain, and it has some menthol in it. I didn't even think about it. And that menthol has been burning my eye for about 30 minutes, and I'm going to get over it. It's going to be okay. And I'm laughing at myself as I did it. And I'm like, why is my eye burning? I'm like, oh, duh. Because you put that product on your cheek. I'm like, I love my life. I absolutely, it's awesome. Great to see people already tuning in to watch the show. They're all going to get a good laugh out of that. Midweek Motivation Live, like I said, now on all major podcast platforms, Stitcher, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you go. People are downloading the show. It does get uploaded right after we end the live broadcast. It gets uploaded through Buzzsprout to all the major podcast platforms, and then it ends up on our YouTube channel as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, please, on the Midweek Motivation Live channel with Patrick Lee, click on the subscribe. We have increased in subscribers lately. Click on the subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications. And you will be notified every time another episode gets uploaded. We also upload shorts during the week on YouTube, as well as post them on other social media platforms. The shorts are 1 minute sections usually, or a little less, of some of the major points from each one of the shows. So you never know where the short is going to come from. One of our past shows, and it will be a motivational minute to help you as well at different times during the day. Hello, Miss Mary, my dear friend. Great to see you tuning in and watching today as well. Welcome back, people, this week. We just made it through Independence Day, 4th of July weekend. We have had a lot going on. The weekend was amazing. The signing of the big, beautiful bill, if you're political, that was amazing. There are a lot of great things that are going to happen with that. But then we also had a major tragedy, floods in South Texas. Many people, children and adults, lost their lives. We just had another major flood in Ruidoso, New Mexico yesterday. Was watching videos of that. We've got some major weather events. This is flood, hurricane, storm, tornado season across the nation and around the world. Many things are happening that are extreme, and we need to keep all of our thoughts and prayers with all of the people that have suffered loss. Here at Midweek Motivation Live, we certainly, our hearts go out to you if you have experienced loss. My prayers are with you. I checked with people down in South Texas that were not affected, but have friends and family members of friends that were affected, people that lost their lives, and we're definitely praying with them, and my prayers are with you. I am so sorry for your loss. And so let's move on. This is a topic I think that is important to you. It's important to me. This show today, we're here to break chains, light fires under our butts. We're going to get back on track to living our purpose-filled, purpose-driven lives. You know me, that's what I try to do each and every week. Today's episode is all about Boredom. Boredom is a liar. Rekindle your fire before you get eaten alive is my topic today. And this is not the I have nothing to do kind of boredom. I'm talking about soul level, deep disengagement, a creeping sense that maybe you've plateaued. Maybe you have achieved a goal that you thought that you would achieve. And now what do I do next? Um, Maybe it's this sense of I don't know that I still agree with my original vision. Maybe my vision has changed. Maybe my dreams, I just don't feel like I'm going to achieve the same dreams or the same goals I set for myself. And I need to do a course correction. Well, course correction, that's another show. We've talked about that many times. But this one is that boredom feeling, that deep feeling that I just cannot kick myself in the butt enough to get back on the horse, to get back in the fight. It feels harmless for a while when you start feeling this boredom creep in and you're like, it's just me, it's okay, tomorrow I'll be better. Or maybe I'm just going through some emotions, I've suffered some emotional loss, maybe something has gone wrong, I've been offended, and it set me back for a little bit. But setbacks are just there to give you an opportunity for a great comeback. If that emotion starts to take over your mind, if that little feeling of fog in your brain starts to linger a little bit longer than it should, that can turn into a serious boredom issue that we have got to eliminate from our lives, from our thought processes. It feels harmless at first, like that little fog that creeps in on you. And I grew up on the Oregon coast in an area of fog. And sometimes you're trying to drive in the evening, in the morning, and you're trying to drive through the fog, and it seems endless, like the old movie, The Fog. And it just never ends. And you have fog lights. And even with your fog lights and your headlights, it's hard to see what's in front of you more than 50 yards. But this kind of fog can be the same way. It burns off out there. By the time the sun comes up and goes over the trees, it burns the fog off. And when you experience fog out here in Texas, where we are as well, the sun will burn that fog away. But this kind of fog in your brain, in your life, in your career, it lingers. And it seems like no amount of sunshine on that can cause it to burn off. And then at that point, what do we do? If we stay in it too long, it ends up becoming a trap that seems hard to get out of. Maybe like a rut. And we're going to talk about ruts here for a second. If you're in a rut, guess what? I've learned this. I heard this statement recently, and it was one of those, Les Brown calls them writer downers, right? Write it down, write it down, write it down. I was listening to this speaker, and he talked about being in the rut. And he said, when you're in the rut, the top of the rut becomes your horizon. And I was like, what? When you're in a rut, the top of the rut becomes your horizon. That's as far as you can see. You stop dreaming, you stop moving, you stop believing, because you see, all you can see is the end of the rut, right? But we don't understand, when you're in the rut, you forget kind of that you're headed somewhere else, somewhere powerful, somewhere that you did dream about and plan to go to. And while you're in that rut, all you can see is a horizon. We need to change that today. So let me jump into some of these points. Boredom pretends to be peace, but it's actually rot. Boredom is sneaky. It doesn't scream at you and say, hey, I'm coming. It doesn't announce and project itself that it's coming to you. It wraps itself in this language of rest or balance, or I just need to chill out a little bit. And maybe your friends have told you that, dude, you're too driven, man, you're just on fire, you need to chill, bro, right? But more often than not, that's just a cover up for disengagement and disconnection. How many of you, like myself, can be from time to time, you go into a little season where you're just like, I just need to disengage a little bit. Maybe I just need to detach myself from everything I have going on and do that. Just chill. Maybe we've done entire shows on the grind, being on the grind. I got to grind it out. And there are points of time where you kind of need to do that, but those are short periods of time. It's not you always have to have your nose to the grindstone. But sometimes the longer we sit in this little season of disengagement or disconnection, the more we start convincing ourselves that mediocrity or a slower pace is our new normal. And that's the dangerous trap we have got to get out of. When you're sitting in a rut, you lose perspective. When your view is limited to the walls of the rut, your horizon is hijacked. You forget you were once climbing mountains, forging trails, running over streams. You forget the fire that once drove you. It was the burning fuel that was carrying you along the way towards your goals and dreams. You start thinking, well, this is it. This is as far as I go. Maybe I've achieved a couple of goals, and that's great. Is there really more for me in life, or have I already achieved what I needed to achieve? And is this stop a great place, this little stepping stone here? Is this a place for me to just sort of sit down and stop? Maybe this is as far as God wanted me to go. That's the enemy of your soul right there talking to you. You need to recognize that. Remember this: boredom is a devil's lullaby. It's like this siren song leading you to a life of mediocrity. There's no lack of opportunity for us to do the right thing, but it's easy for us to sit down and not do anything. That 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 feeling of maybe my sense of urgency just needs to be shaved down a little bit. I need to dull that just a little bit. Maybe I'm just too driven. That is a lie from the pit of hell. You don't need to wait for a signal from God. You don't need to wait to be struck with fire from heaven. Um, you simply recognize where you're at and realize, hey, this feeling of complacency is weird and it's kind of relaxing, but it's eating away at my inner man, at my inner woman, my person, the person that I know I am. And why am I feeling like this is like dragging me in and wanting me to stay here? I'll tell you a story, and it kind of comes right in play with how this works. You start. I've told you before that the things that you consume, we have multiple gates into our soul, right? And all of the things that we consume visually, the things we listen to, the things that we watch, the people that we listen to, those are all windows and gates that go into our soul. And what you consume to your inside is what eventually will come out, right? And this was a good thing, but I watch a lot of ASMR videos on YouTube in the evenings to relax. I watch ASMR videos, and these are lawn makeovers, right? A guy will say, hey, here's an overgrown home. The grass hasn't been mowed in forever. Maybe the house is abandoned. Maybe it's a foreclosure. Maybe the people had medical issues. So this person knocks on the doors of some neighbors if they don't get a hold of that person, and they just go mow the grass. And all you hear is someone mowing this tall grass, edging, weed eating, and it's relaxing. A lot of people have gotten on this kick, and I'm one of them. I watch these ASMR videos. Maybe it's someone building a cabin off grid in the woods. So you start thinking, you start romanticizing in your mind, wow, this is a neat idea. I could do that, right? I have rent property, and I have investment property and properties that I'm fixing up. And I was at one of the properties that I was mowing the grass on, and I happened to look across the street, and I had my mower, my weed eater, and my edger with me. And I saw these two homes across the street, and the yards were incredibly tall. And I saw a young mother come out and sit in a little folding chair on the front porch, and she had a little baby with her. And this tall grass, it was almost as tall as she was, sitting in this lawn chair on her front porch. And as I'm mowing, out of the corner of my eye, I look across the street and I see this young girl with this little kid. And when I was nearly done mowing, I took a break, and I think I fueled up the lawnmower, and I just walked across the street, and I introduced myself. Hey, I'm not a creeper. I just happened to notice this home was vacant. It was for sale. Are you the new owner? And she said that they were the new tenant. I said, hey, that's wonderful. I see that your yard is really, really getting out of control. I've got all of my things with me. Would you like for me to just come over here and mow this for you for free? And she's like, well, the landlord, we just moved in, and the landlord said it's our responsibility, and we don't have a lawnmower, and I don't know what we're going to do, but we're eventually going to get to it. And I said, hey, I would love to help you. You got a baby. Let me just knock this out for you for free. And I'm sitting there going, and she said, okay, that's wonderful. So I knocked out this lawn, weed eated it, edged it. The grass had been growing over the lawn. The grass was growing over the edge of the lawn, the sidewalk, about a foot on both sides. And I spent about an hour and a half, and I edged it, weed eated it, mowed the front. They're going to take care of the back. And I said, hey, listen, when I get this knocked down for you, it'll be easy for you guys to either get a lawnmower or hire a lawn guy or whatever. And once it's knocked down, you can take care of it, right? She said, absolutely. I still know her and her little kid's name. And I've been back by there a couple of times, and I'll look over there and she'll wave. And she actually came over one day and said, just God bless you. Thank you so much for just coming and mowing my grass. And it was just something that from watching all of these other mowing channels, it affected me. And then I started going and doing what I was watching. And Boredom, yes, Becca says she watches those too. Jackie, good morning. My dear sister Jackie watching as well. Yeah, what you consume is what you start to become, right? So in the evenings, I'm relaxing and I'm watching these mowing channels, and then I start romanticizing in my mind, hey, I could go start a channel. I have all the gear, right? And a pickup. I could go start a mowing channel and just go around and bless the city. One of the channels I watch is just called Clean the City, SB Mowing, the Midlife Stockmen. And I've reached out to some of these people just to thank them in the comments on YouTube. Thank you for being a great steward of the gifts and the talents and the things that God has given you. And this is all they do now, is go around and do free lawn makeovers for people in need, veterans, senior citizens, people with medical issues, people that are down on their luck, and they go do this for free, and YouTube pays them to go do that. So then I start romanticizing in my mind, I could go do that and I could get YouTube famous, and I wouldn't have to do real estate anymore. I'm a real estate guy. I have a real estate team. Come on. Patrick Lee Group. That's me on the screen. People first, purpose driven. Does that mean I need to go mow everyone's lawn for free? Absolutely not. If God tells me or tells you, hey, go mow your neighbor's lawn. Hey, if you have a shut in, or you know someone that's a veteran or someone that doesn't have any money or their mower's broke, go mow their grass. Absolutely. But does it mean that we need to consume so much of that content that we start thinking about that we need to go do what they're doing? And then you have what? Broken focus. Broken focus is the killer of so many goals and dreams. And that's not what we need to be doing, right? It gets us off of what we're supposed to be doing, and we just get lulled into this sense of maybe I should do this, or maybe I should go build a cabin. I had land at the lake, right? Had an acre of land at the lake, and I watched some of these off-grid videos, and I'm like, I'm 61 years old. I have all the tools I need, other than a couple of nail guns. I've got saws and compressors and table saws and battery powered tools, everything I need to go build a tiny house. And I could go build a tiny house on my land, and I could probably do it in a couple of months in my spare time, and then turn around and have a cabin to go to, or I could sell that cabin. And I'm like, Patrick, but you're a real estate team leader. Do you have time to go gallivanting off to the lake and building a cabin in your spare time just because you saw someone else doing it? No, it gets me away from my goals and dreams, the things God has called me to do, and the people I'm put on this planet to help. So in the same manner, this change of direction, change of motivation, all of these things creep in to steal away your goals and dreams, to keep you from feeling like I was motivated to go do this, and now maybe I should just chill out and I can go do this, right? Boredom is the devil's lullaby. And that sense of urgency to go do something else as opposed to what you're called to do is very dangerous. Wake up, shake off that thought process of I could just go do something else. I've already done enough here. We need to shake off the comfort zone that we get into, because that's killing us. We need to shake off all of these thoughts that I've done enough where I am and I could go do something else. We need to remember we've got more to do. God has called us to do more. So if you find yourself in that rut, you need to remember this. A rut isn't permanent, but it can become a prison if you stay too long. There's a powerful quote that says, a rut is just a grave with the ends kicked out. Let that sink in for a moment. A rut is just a grave with the ends kicked out. When you're stuck in a rut, it's hard to remember what forward even looks like. Like I said before, the top of the rut becomes your entire world, your horizon. But that's a false horizon. And suddenly you're aiming lower without even realizing what you're doing. What once felt like a temporary dip off the road into a rut becomes a dangerous default. You start saying things like, well, maybe this is just who I'm actually called to be now. Maybe what I thought before was just too high and mighty, and it's not what God really had for me. The top of the rut becomes your entire world, your horizon. It's as far as you can see. And suddenly you start aiming lower without even realizing what you're doing. Maybe I was wrong about my calling. Maybe it was pizza that told me I could do more or I could be better. No, my friends, you were not wrong. You're just stuck in a rut. The rut numbs your sense of urgency. But hear this, vision doesn't die in chaos or in a rut. It dies in your comfort zone, right? Courage begins where your comfort zone ends. That's one of our mottos here on the show, right? I say it at the end of almost every show. Courage begins where your comfort zone ends. The rut numbs your sense of urgency. That's why we have to get out of the rut and back in the hunt. The line I told you at the beginning of the show, if you're not in the hunt, it's because you're on the menu. There are other people that are out there called to do a lot of the same things that you're called to do. And if you are not doing them well, they are going to pass you up. They're going to eat you up, and they're going to end up going out and consuming you, your goals, your dreams, and they're going to achieve them for yourself. Watched a video of a pride of lions and a herd of wildebeest going by. Maybe some of you have seen this before. It's a little motivational video. And in the lions, the pride of lions, the lionesses usually do the hunting, and they bring the kill back to the lions, and the head lion and all the other lions eat, right? Well, the female lionesses are all crouched down, getting ready to go hunt. They're getting ready to go grab a wildebeest. They're getting ready. They're watching all these wildebeest go by. And finally, the main lion, this big giant lion, he jumps over all of them. He jumps out there in the middle of them and just grabs a wildebeest and brings it back to eat. And sometimes we have to realize if we're not hunting, someone else is. And if you're going to be sitting down waiting for an opportunity to jump into the hunt, to get back in the hunt, other people are just going to go hunt around you. And maybe you're going to end up being the one on the menu. If you're not the one hunting, you're the one being hunted. Where there is no vision, people perish. The Bible says it that way. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. When you stop seeing where you're going, chasing the goals and dreams that you have, there are other people that have those goals and dreams that are going to go ahead and achieve them all around you. You start sliding backward into this sense of passivity while they're moving forward. There was a time year before last, and just in the real estate career, I told you beginning of the show, I'm kicking my own butt and yours, right? 2 years ago, I had the best year in real estate I ever had, multiple hundred thousands of dollars. It was an amazing year. And a lot of realtors, right at the beginning of the show, my little intro video, it says real estate, success, motivation, energy, all of these things, in faith. That's what the Patrick Lee Group stands for. That's our motto. Is actually in our thank you cards and others, it says Patrick Lee Group, people first, purpose driven. And then the final tagline about that says integrity above all. And in this particular graphic I had created, they couldn't fit it in that one line. It would have been too small to read. So it's people first, purpose driven. And that's been my motto ever since I started this career 12 years ago. And when I started this team 5 years ago, that became our motto: people first, purpose driven, integrity above all. And that's really been what we've lived by all of this time. And I didn't want to start a real estate team, but I did. People wanted to come and work with me, so I accepted them, and they did very well. I grew the team up to about 10 members, and people would reach out to me in a group chat, and they would say, Patrick Lee, you're killing it. Patrick Lee Group you're killing it. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they say, have you looked at your numbers? I'm like, not this week. You know what I mean? So in the real estate world, that's like a death sentence. If you don't track your numbers, you can't grow what you don't track. And one of my weaknesses is I live in the moment. I move forward and with everyone that I can. And I know that if I keep my head down and work hard enough and serve as more people, the goal is being purpose driven, right? But people first. If I serve enough people and meet their needs, God will provide all of my needs according to his riches and glory. God is my supply. Number one, that's always been what I tell people. God is my supply. So I don't track my numbers as well as I should. And I continued to grow, continued to grow, continued to grow. We got up to 10 team members. It was me and 9 women. And my wife used to beg me to hire men. And she knows this is a joke with us. And then other people would start saying, oh, it's Charlie's Angels. Hey, Charlie, what's going on? And I would just laugh it off. But at the end of the day, I started talking with Marlene. Many of you know Marlene. And I would just say, some of these agents are going to come and go, and that's okay. I don't know that I want to continue to have a larger team. So then my focus started changing, and people did come and go. And other people ended up leaving the team, and that's okay. And I was smart enough, probably now in hindsight, maybe not at the time, to recognize that, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And I started having a heart of, I don't know that I necessarily want this many members on my team, but my team was doing incredibly well. And I did end up whittling down the amount of people on the team and having an incredible growth year. The people that would text me would say, Patty, good Lord, you're like out of 1,200 realtors in Amarillo, we had made it up to number 12 in production. We were doing incredibly well. Competing as a real estate team, independent team within a brokerage, we were doing more business than most of the brokerages in town, other than your big boxes. There are multiple private brokerages, independent brokerages that my team of me and these 9 ladies would outproduce handily. And I didn't even track it. It just happened organically as a byproduct of the hard work that we were doing. And that's okay. But I started to think, is that what I really want? Do I really want to be in this position? Then as I started thinking more about it and my mindset changed, I started really deciding, where did I want to be in life? I've shared this on the show before in the past. One of the objectives, or one of the lines I learned at a previous big box brokerage, was you build your business objective as a life by design, not by default. And if you just do it by default, you deal with whatever life hands you, and you just live the default life. But if you have goals and dreams, you can actually build a life by design. So that's what I set out to do. What kind of life do I imagine I want for myself? And I did the magic morning training, and the dreams, and the Frank Kearns, and write out your perfect day. And I started doing these exercises, going, maybe I'm becoming someone I don't want to be. And that started changing, right? So then I started going the other direction, and people come and go. A lot of the people that have left me to go join someone else, they had their own goals and dreams, and they need to go and chase them. I think when people join a team, they need to join a team. If they're new, they sign a commitment with me to join a team for a year. Join the team for a year, and let's see how it goes. We're going to grow you. You're going to help us grow. And if it's not for you, that's okay. I want to seed you out into your future. You can go grow and flourish somewhere else, right? Where you're called and meant to be. And that's okay. Many of those people that came and joined the team, they didn't make it, and they left right away. They left our brokerage. They went and joined other brokerages, and then they came back within a couple of days and said, no, it's better here. I love it here. Some of those agents left me, went and joined other teams, and now they've moved on and joined other teams, and they've moved to other brokerages. And that's okay. It's not my calling for them to stay with me, for me to hoard them forever. I need to be living true to myself, following the vision God has for me. And I have to be so motivated that I continue to kick my butt out of passivity, thinking that I've achieved some great goals, and I've garnered some accolades, and I've reached some levels. But am I doing today? Am I having the same kind of year I was having in 2023 during COVID, when there was a shortage of homes and you could throw a rock and find a buyer or a seller? It was literally that easy. So all of the preparation and the training and the learning and the hard work we had done culminated into this incredible year. And then interest rates go up and it becomes a little harder to go out and find a buyer or a seller. Prices start dipping where in the past they'd continue to grow every year. So most of the realtors now, a lot of realtors have dropped out. They've not renewed their license, or they're sending us messages saying, I'm not having anywhere near the kind of year I had before. And I feel like I'm in a rut. I'm in burnout. I don't know what it is. The scariest thing about that is you can be surrounded by people who are in your same career, but they can also be stuck in a rut too. And you get in this mindset of cheering each other on. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not doing any better than you are. You're doing fine. I'm doing fine. This will all pass. What that really is misery loving company. But growth doesn't love misery. Growth loves courage. Growth says, get out of the comfort zone. Move on. That brings us to our next point, and I'm going to run through these a little quicker. I know I'm taking a lot of your time, and I apologize. I feel like this is important. A rut isn't permanent, but it can become a prison if you stay too long. You've got to get out of that. We can't do it, and you can't think your way out. You have to move. When you're stuck, you often try to just figure it out in your mind, and I do that. I analyze, I overthink, right? Then I pray to God for clarity. Sometimes I write notes, and I do take a lot of notes, and I have to write out things and remind myself of why I got into this, what my goals and dreams are. I go back and reshare some of the dreams that I have had that have been so poignant and powerful in my life. And my wife actually asked me about 3 weeks ago. She goes, "You remember that dream you had last year?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Repeat that to me again." And out of like that, I repeated this dream nearly word for word the same way I did last year when God gave me this dream. And it was about the Spirit of God and success in life and how God moves. Incredible dream. And she's like, "You need to take that dream back to heart because it seems like you've kind of forgotten a little bit of that." I'm like, "Oh no." She goes, "You remember how easy it was for you to just recite that dream?" I said, "Yeah, it was that vivid in my mind. It's hard not to remember." She goes, "Well, you need to be acting on that because it doesn't seem like you're acting on it as much as you used to be." And I was like, "Wow, ding, ding, ding!" Right, writer downer. That was a writer downer. If God has given you a goal and a dream and you remember what that is, take yourself back to what that was. Remember it, recite it to yourself, right? Analyze that. Pray to God for clarity. What did that really mean? And help me have a plan to move forward with that. So I do that. I journal things. I write a lot of things down. The truth is, you can't think your way out of it. You have to move. Vision returns in motion, not in stagnation. Say that again. Vision returns in motion. It comes back to you when you're moving forward, not in stagnation. Just like a foggy windshield, or just like fog comes up in the morning and that windshield clears up faster when the car is moving, your internal fog clears up when you start taking action. Steps, any steps, baby steps, grand steps, massive steps. Boredom dissolves under the pressure of intentional action, right? Motion creates emotion. It's not the other way around. Sometimes emotion is the spark to get you to start moving, but if you're not feeling it, but you start moving in it anyway, it will cause the feeling to come. Boredom dissolves under the pressure of intentional action. Start serving people again. Make some calls. Hit the gym. Reignites the habits that made you successful in the first place. Read what you used to read when you were hungry. Pray the prayers you used to pray when you were getting results. Pray how you used to pray when you were desperate. Those small acts stir your spirit and shatter the illusion of helplessness. You might think, I just can't get out of this funk. I've been in it too long. I don't know what I need to do. Go back and start doing the things that you did that caused you to be successful, that caused your momentum to move forward. If you've ever seen the analogy of one guy trying to start the giant boulder rolling, it's hilarious because once it starts, you expend all of this energy to get the boulder rolling. But once it's rolling, it takes much less energy to keep it rolling. So maybe you have to go back and start pushing again, right? Put your shoulder to the boulder and get that thing rolling, and then continue to do the proper action to keep it rolling. Reignite the habits that made you hungry. Read the books you used to read when you were hungry. Pray the way you used to pray when you really needed God to move on your behalf. Those small acts stir you up, right? Your inner man, stir up the gifts within you. James chapter 2, verse 17 says it like this: faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Another translation just says, faith without works is dead. Inactivity starves your faith. Action feeds your faith. Come on, people. Let's start taking massive action. If you want to stop being the prey, you've got to get back in the hunt. You need to become the predator again that you were before. You've got to move like you remember the assignment, right? Point number 4, rediscover the hunt, because comfort isn't your calling. It's truly not. Let's get blunt. Really, if you're listening to me today, if you're not in the hunt, you're on the menu. There's no neutral ground in a spiritual or entrepreneurial war zone. You're either advancing or you're retreating. There is no standing still. Boredom is a slow death of ambition, of your purpose, of your calling. You were not created to coast. You were created to create, to write, to dream, to build, to fight, to lead, to shine your light. You've got to rediscover the hunt. The thrill of waking up with clarity is a thrill like nothing else. The fire of chasing something bigger than yourself is a fire that's impossible to quench. The urgency of understanding that lives are on the line includes your own life. Philippians chapter 3, verse 14 says, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. The press isn't easy. It's not passive. It's a strain. It's a stretch. It's a pursuit. If you're waiting to feel ready, you're getting ready to get ready, you're going to die in the waiting room. Stop waiting. Start pursuing. You've got a life to build and a legacy to leave behind. Where are you at right now? Are you in a rut? Are you in the fog? Are you feeling bored or drained or disengaged? Take this episode as a spiritual slap in the face, a slap to the soul. Sometimes that's what we need, right? Sometimes that's what we need. God didn't call us to be in a rut. He called us to be on the mountaintop, but you can't see the summit from where you've settled. So rise up, take a step forward, then another step forward. Be courageous. Get outside of that comfort zone you've let yourself sink into. Build your momentum. Break free from the fog. You were never made to just survive. You're made to thrive. If you're not in the hunt, you're on the menu. And trust me, you're hunters just like I am. I believe it. This is my final thought. Boredom kills momentum in business and in life. If you're not chasing the vision, you're being eaten by someone who is. Here it is, people. Courage begins at the end of your comfort zone. Until next week, this has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. I truly, truly, truly love you, care about you. I thank you for coming back to watch the show each and every week. Share the show with family and friends, and hopefully this will help them. Maybe they're in a funk, maybe they're in a rut or a season of non-productivity, and they just can't seem to find their way out. I believe that they can. You can. So can I. Don't forget, Midweek Motivation Live is sponsored by Stellar, www.getstellar.com. If you go to stellar.com, Stellar Elevate Your Wellness is an amazing CBD company. I do use their products regularly. These are some of the new CBD gummies I'm trying, 750 milligrams of total cannabinoids. I believe that all of their products have been helping me, my lifestyle, my mindset, a lot of my health. I have decided to elevate my wellness with Stellar. I thank them for being the sponsor of the show. All of their products are GMO free, gluten free, vegan, great products. They have CBD and mushroom products for you, your pets, your spouse, all kinds of things. I love it. And if you use my code Patrick20, you'll get 20% off all of your orders of Stellar. People have already been reaching out to me regularly looking for the code. Again, the link to go and buy some Stellar products. You guys have a wonderful day. I truly believe that this message was for me as much as it was for you. I love you. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.